As the president launches a charmed offensive to win over big business, those businesses are about to tell him to back off. The Chamber of Commerce holding a major summit in 4 days to deliver a very clear message to the White House. Lift the regulatory stranglehold on America's job creators. All this as White House Chief of Staff Rahm Emanuel is saying businesses should be thanking the president for what he's done. So who's got it right? Let's get reaction from Ben Stein, Dagan McDowell, Adam Lashinsky, and Joe Battipaglia. Joe, who's got this right?
Well, the markets are saying that business has it right. The credit system is still malfunctioning. The regulatory framework is coming on hot and heavy in very big sectors of the economy. And confidence is slipping, not gaining. So clearly, business is worried, looking at a year coming up where the taxes will go up for everybody.
And you know, Dagan, speaking of businesses being worried, small businesses, I mean, the Chamber of Commerce, they haven't been even invited to the White House to even discuss this. And all of a sudden, the president is talking about he's a friend of businesses, especially small businesses.
And they have gotten the shortest end of the stick. Uncertainty about tax policy, which will impact them later this year with the Bush tax cuts expiring. No lending available. TARP didn't work for them. They are getting really hurt. But to the markets, you know, the markets really rallied this past week. Don't you wonder if that's because businesses are finally getting tough with the White House and dictating what they are going to do? You've seen it from the Business Roundtable.
Yeah, you know, it is funny, Ben, because the Business Roundtable seems that's something of an ally to the White House, and yet they are turning on the president. Of course, the Chamber of Commerce, if you remember, Neil had to do his interview from near rooftop with Donahue, so both of them sort of kept away from the White House. What do you think is going to happen this week coming up? And, you know, the message that we're hearing, it's certainly conflicting, at least from what I understand.
Well, I travel all around the country on a more or less nonstop basis, like a ball and a pinball machine, speaking to business groups. And when I ask them, why don't you hire, the number one reason they say is, we're afraid if we hire somebody, government will slap a new mandate on us for taxes, new mandate for health care, new mandate for this or that. If we build a new factory, there'll be a new mandate, new tax for environmental problems. We are scared of what the government will do if we expand even a little bit. So clearly, this government has got business plenty spooked. I think we've got to have a major sit-down between the president and the business. But I don't think even that's going to work, my friend Charles, because I think this president basically does not like business. At his heart of hearts, this president is a socialist. He does not trust business, and he doesn't like business, and he doesn't know what Calvin Coolidge said, that America's business is business.
Adam, you know, it's hard to really argue with the point that Ben has just made. I mean, really, I know that you are going to, but if you look at the markets, if you look at businesses, and even these earnings, we got corporate earnings come up, you're going to hear a lot of companies saying the same thing that Ben just said. They're intimidated and they're afraid.
Charles, on the contrary, I think it's very easy to argue with what Ben just said. You know, Ben, sometimes you make so much sense, and I don't think this is one of those times. Charles, this bellyache nation of ours has an extremely short memory. I mean, the deregulatory environment of the last, call it 5 to 10 years, didn't work out so well for so many of those small businesses that not only couldn't get loans, but went out of business when everything went
what small businesses are getting
country.
loans right now, Adam? I mean, really, what small businesses are out there with the pom-poms saying this is a fantastic environment?
If you want to talk about the market's reaction, the markets are up considerably since President Obama took office. We don't know where the markets would have been had President Bush and President Obama not made sure to stabilize the financial system.
You know what number matters? That's the unemployment rate to everybody in this country, still near 10%. And you know who does most of the hiring in this country? Small business. That's why they're not hiring. They're looking at getting a hit $2 grand per employee if they don't offer health care. That hits them in 2014. So this is going to be a recovery that does not happen.
But you know what, Dagan, thanks for bringing me back to that point that Ben made. Ben, the employers will shoot themselves in the foot if they don't hire because of what they're afraid that the government might do to them. I mean, aggressive businesses, capitalists, will hire people to try to grow their businesses.
They are not, it's not that they're afraid of what might happen to them. If I said that, I misspoke. They're afraid of what they know is going to happen to them, that there are going to be new taxes, there's going to be new environmental mandates, there are going to be new health care mandates. They know this for a fact, and the markets are up considerably. That's absolutely true. TARP was a huge, fantastic success, and that was a Bush era. That was a huge Bush era program.
Because I want to focus really, Joe, on the issue of small businesses in particular. They don't have access to capital right now.
That's right.
They are really very worried. This is a crazy regulatory environment and a very hostile administration. So when you hear the president taking credit or even saying that the things that he's doing is actually trying to help them, you think that message is actually going to start to backfire?
Well, part of the president's job is to cheerlead and to speak with confidence. That he does probably too much. But beyond that, there needs to be substance.
There's a difference, though, between
exist.
cheerleading, though, and twisting the facts. And you know, listen, if I'm unemployed, you can't tell me things are great and tell me, you know, that only 41,000 jobs created in the private sector is a fantastic thing. You can't keep telling me that. It's with a straight face.
Well, unfortunately, he's made his bet and he's losing. He put up $1 trillion and he's got a 10% unemployment rate, no jobs growth. And what's happening right now in the street is that these small companies are actually being turned back by their health care providers saying, we're not going to sign you up for next year's health care yet until we know exactly how it's going to play, and you can expect your premiums to go up by 20%. How could you hire a new worker, let alone keep the ones you have, in a recession with that facing you? And now we want to talk about cap and trade legislation. We want to talk about re-regulating the financial services industry. You can't turn this ship in a recession and expect a good outcome. And the president is stuck with his ideology. And don't be surprised.
It's small businesses that usually bring us out of these recessions. And yet, if you look at all the data, not only they're not hiring, I mean, some of them are actually still laying people off.
And they feel like they don't have an ear, that they don't have an advocate in the White House. And to Ben's point about the White House being anti-business, just go back and look at the rhetoric. I didn't get elected to help out the fat cat bankers, the deceptive and dishonest advertising of health care companies. You go through the list of what has been said, and so some nice words now aren't going to change what the reality is.
And how about the overreaction in the oil patch? Okay, we definitely have a problem with the BP spill, no question about it. But to halt all the offshore activity on the deep side, and then to pursue it in the court not once but twice, sends a message that they're going to hit you hard if you're a business and you have one misstep. That does not instill confidence.
You know, you have to ask what if they're not hiring. Big businesses, all businesses generally, but especially big business, are sitting on enormous amounts of money. Why are they not hiring? And there has to be a reason. Corporate profits are way, way up. It has to be. The only answer there can possibly be is that they're terrified of what the government is going to do to them.
Absolutely.
There's another answer.
Adam, we're going to have to leave it there. Listen, Ben makes a great point. $1.8 trillion these businesses are sitting on. They must be afraid.